Welcome back to Scoreboard, where we're talking about what's going on, especially in the country at the moment in terms of sports. And more so, in this part of the show, we'll be talking about soccer. Kenya is back into international soccer. Remember, they had been banned. No, suspended is the word, actually. And they couldn't travel even out. But now they will be playing Iran on the 28th of this March. And we have invited a former player of FC Leopards. He's played for Tusker. He has played for Sofapaka. Has been captain there as well. An international to boot. And a man who's the president of the Kenya Footballers Welfare Association, to talk about this new good development on Kenyan soccer. And you can interact with us. The question I asked you is, do you think the new players can help Kenya's Harambee Stars? At Bernard_sports, at Kchege_sports, and at Wilfred Bungei. I already saw the some of the comments saying, yes, look at Senegal. They are doing well with foreign-based players. Look at Morocco. All their players were playing abroad. That's why they made it so far in the World Cup. And they're thinking, yes, this is a good thing. But let me go to the man himself, James Situma. Welcome. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Bernard.
Yeah, it's good to see you always looking young. In fact, I'm always afraid that someone is going to recruit you to play again.
We thank God.
We thank God.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you seen the composition of the Harambee Stars? They had a big provisional list. I think 4 of them were dropped today.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about the team?
Of course, it's a mixture of young players and also experienced players. And also maybe most of the guys were surprised to see the introduction of maybe new players, yes. The first call-ups to the national team.
Did you know those players existed?
Of course I knew, because I watched the Kenyan Premier League.
No. The others, they're like the foreigners. They're from Norway.
Okay. A couple of them, no, I can say, because, you know, but again, it's a good thing, because it means that maybe if we can go on maybe researching and also making a follow-up to who is playing where, then it's a good thing for the country, because having a foreign-based players in the camp, you know, they come with a different perspective, mentality, and also the experience of the game, because you know they play in more advanced leagues, so it means a lot to the nation. And also having new players or who play locally here in Kenya, you know, they need some guys to guide them, and I think, you know, having a mixture of local players and professional players, I think is a good bond. And more so, as I said, you know, having the first call-ups in the national team is a good thing, because anyone dreams or wants to play for the national team. So if you play well, maybe do well locally here, and you get a call-up to the national team, it means something for you as a player.
Something. Yeah. I'm trying to look at the entire list of it, but this evening there was the news about those who have been dropped, and they included a goalkeeper from AFC Leopards, 2 players from Kakamega Homeboys, Zoya. And there's also from Zoya.
Yes,
and also
KCB
Omala, the striker. Benson, who's the top striker in the Kenya national team. Here is the list. We were just looking at the list there. But this was the list. Joseph Akumu. Now, he is playing out there in Ghent. That means he's got the international experience. Mandela plays at Sundowns as well. Omurwa is at Estrella. Eric Ouma Marcelo is out of the country as well. Andrew Juma is a local player. So there's a big number of players now who are actually playing outside of the country. What do you make of it? David Ochieng Cheche has actually attracted a lot of criticism from very many people who think he's over the hill, he shouldn't have been there. What's your thought?
Yeah, okay. For me, as I said earlier, is that when you have these players playing outside the country, and as you mentioned, they're experienced players, you know, most of them is not the first time they're playing for the national team. They have had a couple of games in the national team, so it means a lot to the national team. And maybe for Cheche, you know, he's an experienced player, and for any coach, you know, at times, as where we sit or where we stand, we always maybe have, of course, opinions, but again, it goes back to the coach, because he's the one who makes the call up to the national team. He's the one who knows the system he wants to play, who can fit in, you know. The same thing that has happened to Omala, you know. Everyone knew that he's the top scorer around the country locally, and you feel he could automatically have a chance to play in the national team or make a squad.
I feel he's probably being played against the other strikers who are there, who are equally good and have more experience than him. But you know, just this word dropped makes it look like he's not good at all. Yet he's a top scorer in the country. But who are the other strikers in that team?
Yeah, of course we have
Olunga.
Exactly. He's you know, according to the system of the coach, you know, he plays most of the times the way I saw, maybe the way they train. He has
Elvis Rupia, he has
a 4-3-3, of course.
He has now Alfred Scriven, who's the one we should have been watching.
Exactly. And as I said, you know, when the coach comes in, we always have training sessions. He always that's the time he do the introduction, the way he wants his team to play, the system of play also, or tactically how he wants his players to behave in the field. So, you know, it depends to the player. And at times, once you are called to the national team, we have the data of the national team. So it's also a good chance that you always in the brackets of the players of the national team, because as we speak, if anything happens to the one of the strikers, automatically Omala will be included. Yeah, he'll be in the waters.
But allow me to ask this. So there is Omala. I also have a question about the goalkeeper. They dropped Levis Opio of AFC Leopards. Levis has the most clean sheets in the Premier League.
Yes.
He's the meanest. The most clean sheets.
Yes.
In the Premier League.
Okay.
Then in his place there is Brian Omondi of KCB.
But look at the others. Look at the other goalkeepers.
And there's Matasi.
That was my next.
Brian Odhiambo, and then Levin Opio.
That was my next question.
Yes.
I was to ask, who are the other keepers? They're also equal good keepers. And I'll give an example. I'll go back to my point where I said it depends the way the coach wants it to play. I'll give you an example. When Pep went to Manchester City, who was the goalkeeper of Manchester City? Hart. England #1.
Yes.
What happened to Hart?
He went to play in the
exactly, because he couldn't fit to the playing style of Pep. So all the goalkeepers are good, and at times as a coach, we have games. You know the way you are going to play. Maybe we are playing Iran. Away from home, the approach is totally different, you know, and the way the players behave in the camp, the way they play in the training, that's where the coach gets his playing player.
Let's analyze this a little bit with you, Situma. Patrick Matasi just recently was playing for St. George in Ethiopia, a professional stint that he had there. He's also Harambee Stars #1 by the time he was going to Ethiopia. Came back, played for Tusker. Now he's playing for Kenya Police. He's a top-notch goalkeeper, isn't he?
Exactly. Yeah. You know, there was a time he was called like Kenya #1 because when we played Sekafa, when we won Sekafa here at home, the second edition, I think he was top in the goalpost, and I think he really played a vital role for Kenya to be the champion, and you can't rule it out. Even Ian Otieno, he has been there.
Did he play for Posta Rangers?
Exactly.
And then he actually played for Posta with Matasi.
Exactly, they were there. Yes, in fact, at the same time.
At the same time.
Matasi, yes.
Exactly, and also it goes back when you can track their coaches, their keeper coaching. You know, like Webo has really done well for the goalkeepers. Historically, if you can analyze the keepers that have always been called to the national team the last like 6-7 years, they have been under Lawrence Webo, who is a very wonderful keeper coach.
A former AFC Leopards.
Exactly, and I will also talk about Byron Odhiambo. You know
Brian KCB.
Exactly, and I think most of the people don't realize Byron has been a top keeper at KCB, and his journey from Tusker FC, you know, he was there a couple of years when I was there 2015, and he could not command the first 11 in at that particular time, but I think his growth has been gradually, and at the moment if you watch him play, you will want him in the goalpost because he's so comfortable, he's so courageous, and you know the passing, he's so comfortable on the ball, and any coach will play him because modern football you have to have the restart at the back. So
okay, at the back. So let's look at the midfield then. Or should we go to the defenders? Coming from the goalkeeper, we go, because those are the goalkeepers. Maybe we need to go to the defenders as well and see now how they are. There's Joseph Okumu, and then there is Brian Mandela and Johnston Omurwa, Eric Ouma and Andrew Juma. Eric Ouma obviously plays defensive midfielder. But these are also people who have just recently graduated, like Johnston Omurwa just the other day went professional, having played locally. And Mandela is a seasoned veteran at Sundowns.
I think who's not on the list here is we have also Abu Domar, you know.
Abu Domar,
exactly.
Yes.
And those are the good players at the national team. And I think that those are the players that are the last 2 years.
Here is the other page then. There's Daniel Zachary and Abu Domar.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you could see the quality of that defense. On the sides, we have the right back, like Zachary is a good player. Going forward, defending. Also Abu Domar, you know, going forward as overlapping defender and also defending has been tried and tested. And I remember when we were in the same team when we won the Sekafa 2013 here at the Soil.
So 60% of this are foreign-based. 60% of the defenders.
Wait. We are going systematically. Now we come from the defenders. Let's go to the midfielders. And please note down those who are foreign-based as well, yes. But we're going into the midfield now because he has confirmed that these are good ones. Now, let's go into the midfield there. Amos Nondi, remember, played for Gor Mahia. And I think he was part of the team that played Everton as well and went for training in the UK. And he was spotted and remained there when the team came back. You know him, don't you? He was very young at that time.
Exactly.
And then he got a professional stint. Now there's Odada, who plays for Philadelphia in the US. And then there is Teddy Akumu, who's just moved to Japan from South Africa and from Sudan as well. Then Onyango of Gor Mahia and Kenneth Muguna of Azam. What do you think about that midfield?
I think also coach is spoiled for choice.
He's spoiled for choice. There's Abdallah Hassan, Duke Abuya, and Ocheng, Moses Mudavadi, Alvin Mangeni, Victor Omune, Wilkins Ocheng as well.
If Mudavadi didn't show up, and Mugeni is unwell.
Yes.
That one I think would be dropped on account of being unwell.
Those two.
But what do you think of the midfield?
I think we played our last game, I think, 18 months ago, before COVID came and also the suspension came. But when we were playing the qualifiers, I think Odada was outstanding. And, you know, Teddy Akumu also has been doing so well at the national team. Kenneth Muguna, you know his quality. And anytime in the field, then you could see the creativity and even scoring goals. On the side or attacking wise, we have the players that I think coach knew very well that if I have these players in the squad, then I'm good because they're young, they're energetic, and they're so brilliant. And I think meantime where we stand or where we are, we need to have to rebuild the team.
To rebuild
the team, because we have been outside of the we have been out of the call for quite some time.
Let's look at the strikers, then we can come to these concluding remarks now. The strikers, because that is where we started from, the contention now. Who has been dropped and who has been left out. You've got Benson Omala, who we understand has been dropped from the team, not because he's not good, he's still the highest scorer in the Kenyan Premier League at the moment. You've got Elvis Rupia, he's a veteran of the Kenyan Premier League, currently with Kenya Police. Then Masood Juma, who plays outside of the country. Alfred Scriven, the new call-up for Ilhad, and then Michael Olunga at Al Duhail, a man whose quality is known as well. What do you make of that forward line?
They're scorers, I can say, and I think going to play away in Iran, because Iran FIFA ranking the 24th, I think, on the log, and it's a good side. And I think for coach to choose maybe to go with a few strikers, it means he has to have more of the ball, because he has chosen to travel with a couple of midfielders. I can say a chunk of them is midfielders, because you know most of the times maybe they'll be doing most of the work, maybe defending and also having the possession of the ball. So that's why maybe he did go with a few strikers. But I believe all the strikers that have been named on that squad
are good.
They're capable.
I'm thinking that they should have had Omala there for international exposure. It's just a friendly as well.
But we have a couple of games coming up, I think, because
the
coach has a program, and I think the Omala is in his plan. So I believe with time he'll get a chance and he'll prove. So for him, he'll just continue playing, continue working hard, continue training so hard to make sure that when time comes, he grasps the chance with both hands, and then he'll.
Wilfred, most of the time in this country, in recent times, we are talking about infusing young players into the team, giving a chance to the youngsters so that they take over when the time comes.
Bernard, you know, you have just...
and you have been talking about Benson Omala a lot of times.
I know,
you know,
I know, because he's a top scorer and I expected him to be in the team. But actually, it looks like, you know, you have read my mind, because I had only 2 questions because I believe you have exhausted Ken and yourself. You have exhausted on the players themselves. But there are only 2 questions that I wanted to ask James. Number 1 is the importance of having the young players and the older ones, you know, to be able to play. Because if we were talking about athletics, I will tell you what experience is there. Number 2 is, do you think Kenya to send Harambee Stars to Iran, number 1 team in Asia, and especially, you know, I mean, I'm looking at, because you know, we had a discussion before, and we said, I don't know if it was the right team for us to send to be able to meet them after a break of over 18 months.
He's afraid we'll get a flash.
No. You know, I think
that's a very hard question, but a very good question.
Oh, of course.
Because the thing is, if you are going to play against the best there, you can only make them better,
yes,
because they are the best.
Yes.
And highly likelihood that we will lose, but we will play a very hard game as well. Could it have been easier if we chose a smaller team? I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah, I think for me it's a good experience, because if you want to be the best, you have to play with the best around the world, to say so, because, you know, these are the players these are our best players around the country, so we are going to play against the best players in Iran. So for me, we have to learn from that, we get experience, because I'll tell you, you know, football is just football. Remember, in Africa, Ghana has always been at the World Cup at every season, you see.
Yes.
And the time they came here, I think we gave them the run of their money. So we played against the best players playing in Spanish League, English Premier League, Syria. So I believe the boys, and also have the players playing in Sweden or outside the country, they have a lot of experience. So I think they're up to the task.
But I can also tell you, Bungei, that there's probably a lot more that informed the decision to play Iran than we can discuss here. You know, there's who's taking care of the expenses, and it's an invitation. You know, there's all that comes up as well. And sometimes you have no obligation. I mean, there's no other obligation. I mean, let's just go and play and gauge ourselves against the best. You know.
You know, also the teams like to play against a team that they can beat, so that they can get higher rankings in FIFA. But anyway, that's
wait. Ken has changed this discussion. You're talking about Harambee Stars. A team wants to play a team that they can beat. I thought you were talking about Harambee Stars.
We are Harambee Stars who will be beaten.
That has been.
Tell me,
one moment, please. One moment, gentlemen.
Okay.
That has been one thing that has been said, that other teams use Harambee Stars just to bolster their FIFA rankings. What do you make of that?
We have to change that notion, because if you want to be the best, as I said, if you want your child to do the best, take him to the best school around the country. So if you want to be the best around in Africa, then play best against the best countries, because, you know, for me, I believe it's more positive to a country than Iran, because if for them, they are FIFA ranking, they are 24th. So they know automatically on paper, as we say, they have quality than us. But as I said, you know, football is just football. It's against 11 players. So
you're saying it's going to be more benefit to Kenya
exactly,
than
and having new players in the team, young players in the team, I think for us going forward is the best thing we have done, and we should continue playing better sides around Africa and also around Europe or around the world.
President Situma, we have a nice team. We also have a coach. A coach whose record with the country is 1 draw, 1 win, and 2 losses. Are we moving in the right direction? And I have nothing against the field.
How long has he been here?
Yeah. How long? You know, he only came.
Been here? I mean, is that anything to consider?
He had a 45 days contract.
Yeah.
Remember?
Is that anything to consider?
Yeah, we can say this is the second time he's coming around. But again, I'll say this: Rome was never built in a single day. So I think you know, for a country to perform well in football, it involves everyone, every stakeholder in football to be involved, to make sure that we perform well. We need funds to support the team. We need maybe technical bench to get it right. We need maybe the FA to support the team, and I think we should pull that energy towards supporting the team that has.
In fact, let's look at the positive side of things.
Even before that,
let's look at the positive side of things. That all the players who have come have not complained about anything, about air tickets, about their accommodation. They haven't. which means that somebody is taking care of exactly what is supposed
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
done.
we
And you as the president of the players' welfare, that would be something that would be of importance to you.
Exactly, and what I'll say, at times we give credit where it's due, and I can say maybe the FA at the moment, the current FA, they have really done so well when we come to issues of traveling, and also maybe somehow giving the players allowance, because as you said, we haven't had those complaints as we used to get them before, you see. So the team maybe is traveling, maybe they are stuck at the airport, they have traveled maybe so many hours, so those issues we have, I think they have dealt with it. Exactly.
We have moved on,
and I think as I said, we should every single time we should look at the positive things, how can we support the team, how can we support the FA, how can the entire nation come behind the team and make sure that, if you want to beat someone, you have to work on your positive or your strength. So if we see like the guys have a certain strength, then we can build on that strength to make sure that we give them positive energy so that we can get results. Because remember, these are younger team. Even the players that are playing the professional football outside the country, remember, they are not, I can say, most of them are not past 30 years. So we still have a lot to give them. We need,
they still have some years to play football.
They really need a lot of guidance.
Captain
to make sure
is really burning to say something here.
Yeah. I mean, how important is the coach? Okay, and especially a coach that just comes in, someone who has been with the team for a very long time. They develop a kind of chemistry among the players and the coach himself. So how important is the coach?
For me, I think what happens after even Iran is more important than what will happen in Iran. Because as I said, having a new team, having new players coming on board, having young players playing in foreign-based countries coming to play for the national team, you have to build that culture, you have to build that belief fast, and it takes time, So, for us as fans, of course, always we want results, You go to play, you don't win, you are on your neck. But remember, Rome was never built on a single day. I think even ourselves knows the quality of the players we have. We have players that, as you said, we had new players from Zoya FC. So these are new players. These are players, in fact, to the league, they are new players. So they have gotten a chance to play for the national team. So if he gets
let's compare this with what happened some time back, and I think you were still around. Maybe you were a junior player at that time when there was the late coach Renard Fabish, when he came into the country and went around selecting players who were unknown. In fact, I remember there was a whole hula baloo about some player who came from a team that was called Two Fishes. Two Fishes at the coast. And nobody knew that team, Two Fishes. Yet he went on to become a very, I can't remember his name though, but he came from a team called Two Fishes. Are we seeing that kind of resurgence again? Because that's when we saw the young players, the Mwais, the Simius, the John Odiambo Baresi, Eric Cantona, all the new young players were put into the team.
Bernard, you have taken me back too long, because by then I used to listen football on the radio stations.
Not even in the stadium.
Exactly. But again,
Nigeria here in England,
I think, and remember, those are the players that no one knew about them, So I think also we can borrow a leaf from what has happened from us before, when we were on top of the continent. And I remember we had a very good squad, no one knew about the players. So I think the federation, the FA, I think it has that capacity to make sure, and at the moment they are doing a good job, empowering the coaches, training the coaches, make sure that they go back to the grassroots and develop talent. So I think they can use the same coaches to have that data of good players, maybe down there, maybe on the western side, at the coastal side, uko Lamu, unajua kupata hizo.
But only this time round is different. That is getting them from abroad, because the mindset, everything has to change. Then you have to get them to where they're already developing.
That shows you that I think as a country we have really
developed.
grown.
I think we have developed.
Because by then, how many players do we have playing for the international?
It was Michael
One player.
So, and Wanyama was not even there.
When you ask that question, Bernard, it reminds me of the late Kim McDonald. He once said that, I can go to streets of Nairobi and pick an athlete, a ordinary person, and make it great. And I think it is moving in the right direction, as you have put it, James, that it doesn't matter whether they are known here or they have been playing big. but sometimes to give them a chance. Because again, you know, those ones who are young, they have a lot of eagerness, you know, to play and to showcase whatever they are able to do, and I think it is in the right direction.
And you know what I like is that we actually have time. What is our target with this team? Is to qualify for AFCON 2026.
Yeah, because we
those qualifiers don't start until AFCON is played, and it's going to be played in January. So we have until between now and March to build a team. Between now and March,
it will happen because I think after the COVID hiccups, I think we have a league going on, running on so well. So I believe that's whereby the players will have more match fitness, and that's where the consistency will come from. Because you know, to be at in the national team, you have to play week in, week out in your club. To make sure that you remain at the national team.
Thank you very much, James, for that. We are still talking to you a little bit, but we have to move on to something else that is happening over the weekend. Let's look at the fixtures, and Situma will help us along. I see him on social media a lot discussing what's going on out there, so it shouldn't be any trouble for him. But what do we have coming up over the weekend? I think we've got fewer matches that are being played, especially in the English Premier League. Now that's because the FA Cup distorted a little bit of the programming, but I think that we have 5 matches that are being played over the weekend. Do we?
No,
yes, we do.
This weekend we have no matches.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It's an international break. The matches that are going on in Europe right now are the Euro qualifiers.
Yes,
and I can tell you, England was playing Italy in Italy, and they lead a goal to nil. England are leading a goal to nil.
Yeah, they're already leading that one.
They're leading. Slovakia is playing Luxembourg. There's a whole host of matches. So this is an international weekend.
It is. But teams are playing friendlies as well, and countries are doing that in a big way as part of what is happening now. But what happened on the other side is there was some FA Cup matches that were played, and we got into the semi-finals. I'm sure Situma was watching that. Before we go to the Hong Kong Sevens, you must have been watching that. Did you see what happened in 7 minutes when Manchester United was playing the game they played? When they're playing Fulham?
Yeah, of course, it was a tensed match, and I think, you know, whenever you are playing a cup final, it was a cup final, and you know,
you can call it that. Yes.
Exactly, because you know, you make a mistake and you're out. And I remember in that game, United was more under pressure to perform, because you know, Fulham for them.
But Fulham fell into that pressure. I mean, the last 7 minutes.
Of course, they did, and I think it goes back to the maybe discipline of the players, because you know, at times you have to be mentally,
test of character when you have to leading.
Exactly. You have to, because for them, I think when they were leading, they knew it's ours. In Swahili, they always say, wanasema imeenda. But again, you know, it was not over until it's over for Man United. I think it gave them the character of the players.
What do you think about Erling Haaland and the hat-trick
against Burnley?
I think he's just unstoppable. And you know, as a striker, you know, if you bring in a striker, his work is to score goals.
He's suddenly taking all attention from the Brazilian strikers.
And I think something that is really working out is his combination with De Bruyne. And I think if you don't want Haaland to score, just
remove De Bruyne.
Remove De Bruyne from Man City squad, then
that's it.
That is it. Everything is okay.
Okay. Yeah. So Manu is playing who in the semis?
The semis, Brighton is hosting Manu. City is playing Sheffield.
They're all being played at Wembley.
Sheffield has no.
They're all being played at Wembley.
Sheffield has really tried. You remember they knocked out Spurs, and then now they went out and knocked Blackburn Rovers. Now they're playing.
Yeah, it will be in the final. Someone will say maybe it will be a
City
Manchester.
United. It looks like
Manchester issues.
I think I agree with James. You know, the finals. You know, for the FA, definitely it will be Manchester City.
But don't rule out Brighton. I'm telling you.
Well, I know, you know.
Take it from
Brighton,
a footballer.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because I know, because
Brighton, when they come up against the bigger teams.
Exactly.
They are going to beat Crispy, 5-0.
They are dangerous.
Yes. So I know it's
We'll see what happens. Let's look at the other fixture as well. It might be coming next week, but that's on the rugby sevens as well. And the Kenyan side is now in a dogfight, you know, trying to avoid relegation. This is the Hong Kong leg of the sevens. Ken, you said Kenya plays New Zealand?
This is on the 31st of March. They play New Zealand, and then they play Ireland, and they play South Africa. This is not a very tough group for me. I think we can get away with Ireland and probably New Zealand. South Africa is 50-50.
If we put in losing to some of the flimsies of opponents. I understand the elections were supposed to be Friday, but have they been put off or what?
Yes, there was a court order granted this afternoon, and the elections are not taking place tomorrow. It's actually the AGM that has been.
That's a very surprising thing as well. We're hoping that.
But remember, Bernard, we beat South Africa 2 weeks ago, so maybe this is a chance. I don't know.
This is a dogfight.
It's really a dogfight. It is a dogfight. Yeah.
Because sometimes we win against the big opponents and lose on
the smaller ones,
flimsiest of the opponents. Anyway, that's what is going on. Stuma, your closing comments. What do you expect now of Kenya's Harambee Stars now that they are already back into the international fold? What would be your call, even to stakeholders and even to football, football managers in the country? This country has been dogged by match-fixing allegations in the last few days. You don't even know if the game you're playing anymore is the correct result.
I think, okay, for the fans, they always have opinion over the team, who's supposed to play, who's not supposed to play. But what I want to say is that the Kenyan Premier League, I think it has the fate of the national team, because that's where we select the players. So my call is that the Kenyan coaches who coach around the country, the local clubs, they should really support the national team coach. This whereby share the ideas. At times maybe I can have a player from your team and maybe he's not that physically fit, he's not mentally okay. Then you are in a position to advise the coach. Maybe this is not the time to have my player in your team. So I think they should really work close with the coach, because we have very competent coaches around the country. So I think if they can pull together the ideas and share more how we can build the national team, I think with the capability of the football federation, with the support of the football federation, with the plans they have, the programs they have, I think we can go somewhere. So it takes time to build, it takes time to get where we want to get, but I think we really need everyone to pull together, to push, to have energy towards the national team, and I think we'll get the results.
Okay, thank you very much, James Situma. Captain, what's your closing remarks?
My closing remarks, Bernard, is the results of the Formula One. Red Bull is still leading. I think they have shown that they are really strong.
Yeah, they had a 1-2 finish. Similar to the one they had in the opening Bahrain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's something that we have discussed before, that Red Bull, currently is really doing very well, beating Mercedes, Aston Martin, Ferraris, and the rest. Yeah.
We'll wait and see what happens in the next round, the third round of it. What's your closing remarks, Ken?
Bernard, I'm very excited about this Harambee Stars team. I personally didn't know that we have so many Kenyans playing football out there. By the mere fact that we have so many out there means we have something.
Actually,
we have something.
There's more, even in England alone, there's still some more. Even in Germany, and because called to play for the national team.
Yeah, and because the coach has time. Remember, I said we are trying to qualify for AFCON in 2026. So we have to wait for 2024 to be played, which is next year. So we have all that time. And then the World Cup qualifiers will start. We will have a chance to build this team. We'll have
Meanwhile,
a chance
we should win
to
the regional and
yes, exactly,
and other friendlies around this.
Yes,
place.
we should. Let's get into that.
Okay.
So I'm really excited, and I look forward to good things.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. On behalf of the entire crew, I must say it was nice keeping you company and you keeping us company as well. I've seen your comments as well. They are all positive about Harambee Stars. Everybody putting their hopes finally on the Kenya national team and wishing them the best when they play in Tehran on the 28th of March. We'll leave it there for now. We'll join us again next week on Thursday on Scoreboard, when again we shall brief you on what's going on around the world of sport. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Hawa watu tunawasikia, wengi tunawajua, lakini tungetamani sana kufahamu maisha yao kwa undani. Bas, sasa tutawapa fursa ya kueleza pandashuka za maisha yao, kazi zao, huzuni na furaha zao, pamoja na sakata na masaibu yao katika kipindi Ni Kipi Sijasikia, kila Ijumaa 12 hadi saa 1 hapa KTN News na mimi Ahmed Bahaj. Rafiki, utafurahia na pia utajifunza. Zitatoka cheche. Piga mstari chini yake.
Kwa miaka mingi tumekuwa tegemeo kwa nchi nzima kwa habari za kuaminika, matukio katika nyanja zote za maisha, siasa, usalama, mahakamani, michezo, yote tumekuletea wakati ufaao. Na ndio maana tunakuboresha hata zaidi, kwamba sasa KTN leo itakuwa ikikujia kwa saa nzima kila siku. Hapa ndipo taarifa za matukio kwa njia inayokufaa zaidi, maana sisi ndisi.